The stock market has lost over $5 trillion since its all-time high, which was only about a month before this video was published. Asset markets are forward-looking indicators that reflect how investors view the future, and right now that outlook is bleak. We've talked about the everything bubble for years now, from stocks and real estate to precious metals and even absurd things like meme coins. Almost everything has seen huge price increases, driven largely by wealthy speculators who are running out of places to invest. If you were searching for something to finally burst this bubble, take your pick. Trade wars, actual wars, rising household and national debt, massive layoffs, reduced government support, and most significantly, total uncertainty about what's coming next. Since mid-February, $4 trillion in market value has disappeared. On February 19th, for example, additional tariffs of 25% to 50% were announced on steel and aluminum imports to the U.S., costing up to $400,000 every single day. A federal judge approved mass layoffs under President Trump, even while legal battles were ongoing. After tariffs hit Canadian and Mexican imports, the administration reversed its decision, then reversed the reversal. Tariffs were removed, then reinstated. Markets hate uncertainty. Business leaders and investors want predictability so they can make rational decisions based on expectations for the near or distant future. Every business decision, from hiring staff, launching a product, building a warehouse, or paying a dividend, is based on a forecast, a calculated assumption about the next quarter, year, or even decade. If that forecast is unclear, or if everything is changing rapidly, then the smartest move is to play it safe. That means cutting expenses, delaying new product launches, and hoarding cash to stay afloat. Investors, too, play it safe by pulling their money out of volatile positions and parking it in safer assets. Even hedge funds, known for doing well during turbulent markets, are staying out. According to the Financial Times, these funds are reducing leverage and exposure, despite this being a time they could potentially outperform and earn big. Why? Because nobody knows what's coming next. That uncertainty alone is enough to freeze both investors and businesses in place. Let's go over some of the major tariff events again. Before even taking office, Trump announced 100% tariffs on countries undermining the U.S. dollar. 6 days into his term, tariffs hit Colombia for refusing deportation flights. 3 days later, 25% tariffs were proposed on Canadian and Mexican goods, plus 10% on Chinese products. These were delayed a day before implementation, but only for Canada and Mexico. China's tariffs went into effect, and China responded with tariffs of its own. Steel and aluminum tariffs from 2018 were reinstated. Then more tariffs were added for countries beyond China, Canada, and Mexico. Soon after, warnings were issued. No country would be spared. The Commerce Department was asked to review copper tariffs. Tariffs on Canada and Mexico took effect, 25% with energy products taxed at 10%. China's tariffs were bumped from 10% to 20%. All three countries retaliated with their own measures against U.S. goods. Then came temporary relief for U.S. automakers, followed by a delay in all tariffs for 25 more days, with a new enforcement date set for April 2nd. Then new tariffs were announced on Australia, the UK, and Europe, including a threatened 200% tariff on wine and champagne in response to a 50% EU tariff on American whiskey. These trade policies are so inconsistent that by the time you watch the video, they may be delayed, changed, or forgotten altogether. Now, tariffs aren't inherently bad. When used correctly, they can support domestic industries, protect jobs, and encourage local production. But for tariffs to work well, they need to be part of a clear, long-term strategy that gives businesses time to adapt. If you're watching this and thinking all of it seems random and poorly planned, you're not alone. In fact, more trade policy changes have occurred in the last 2 months than in the entire previous decade. With that kind of instability, most businesses and investors have no choice but to retreat and wait it out. That's a huge reason why we're seeing so much market sell-off recently. Now you might be thinking, who cares? We've all heard that the stock market isn't the economy, and it's true until the market crashes. Then it starts affecting everyone. While it's tempting to think these losses only hit the wealthy, the truth is broader. Many people rely on stable jobs and pensions linked to market health. A crash hits them too. And during periods of high uncertainty, companies often lay off workers and cut back on spending. Even government jobs that were once seen as secure are now at risk. Billionaires may be losing billions on paper, but they'll be fine. Many, like Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, are sitting on massive cash reserves, ready to buy when the market dips. Most people don't have that luxury. Retailers have started stockpiling inventory to ride out these disruptions, though that strategy has limits. Even if consumer behavior were totally predictable, their shelves would be empty in about a month. Meanwhile, some tech companies are announcing huge investments in AI infrastructure and clean energy. These may sound good, but many of them are PR moves. Companies like Apple have repeatedly made huge investment promises. $350 billion here, $430 billion there, with claims of creating 20,000 jobs each time. These announcements often coincide with pressure from regulators or the media. So why do companies keep doing this? For three reasons. First, it earns political support. Lawmakers love being seen as job creators. Second, most people forget about these promises after a while. And third, it boosts stock prices. Big investment announcements create the illusion of growth, even if no money has changed hands. Apple's profits have grown 80% in the last decade, but its stock valuation has jumped over 330%. That only works if people believe growth will keep accelerating, which is becoming harder to justify. A crash may seem like an opportunity for new investors, but buying the dip is risky, especially with household savings near record lows. And if the market continues to slide, layoffs and cutbacks will increase. Even if stock prices drop and real estate cools, that doesn't mean homes will become more affordable. The reality is, when markets fall and instability rises, it's those with the least who feel it the most. Billionaires will weather the storm. Everyday people? Not so much. That's why it's so important to understand how markets work, especially when they stop working. Thanks for watching InvestingFlix. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment below. For more expert insights on personal finance, investing, and wealth building, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Keep learning, keep investing, and we'll see you in the next one.